Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. Thank you to, just finding out who it was, Pads87, Lee Walker. Thank you for letting me know that my recording had no sound. I'm really sorry about that. So we're trying again. We do definitely have sound coming through this time. I am watching the sound bar go up and down when I'm talking. Very frustrating. This is going to feel a bit weird recording the video again because you kind of, I remember saying that, I want to say that again sort of thing. Okay, handicap analysis. Just the 4 this week, all on the flat, nothing from the National Hunt Sphere. Starting off looking at Killybegs Warrior, who has dropped from a mark of 92 down to 90 after disappointing in the Rosebery. Now, it was a disappointment because he had previously finished second in the race back in 2024, so last year, off a mark of 103, and then disappoints off 92. I'm sure he was backed by plenty of people thinking that, I mean, he's coming there fit, having run in Bahrain. He's coming there off an £11 lower mark. You would have thought he would have gone a lot closer. I do wonder whether that travelling to and from Bahrain may have been the cause for his disappointing run at Kempton. If we actually look at his first run back at Bahrain, he finished 7th of 8, beaten 9 lengths, before going on to finish 2nd and then 3rd. Maybe the travelling just left its mark again, and he's not quite as good after a bit of a journey. And to be fair, it was only 23 days ago that he ran in Bahrain. So yeah, maybe that was part of the reason he didn't run up to scratch. Interesting horse, Killybegs Warrior. He's actually won 3 times in his career. All 3 of those on the July course at Newmarket. Surely they've got to find that race that they can win at Newmarket. And there is one. There is one race that they could go for. And it is this one here. It is a mile and 2 handicap for horses rated 0 to 95. He's rated 90. He would get in lovely. It's not until end of June. Bizarre that it's the end of June when it's on the July course. I never totally understand that. But yeah, he's that's where they've got to be targeting him. And for a horse that's only 3 from 32, they can't be targeting the feature handicaps and going, well, we've got a nicely handicapped horse, we're going to win a feature handicap with him. It doesn't seem to work. I mean, other than that run last year at Kempton in the Rosebery, he never really got close after that. 7th at Goodwood, beaten 3 lengths. 5th at Windsor, beaten a length and a half in a racing league race. And then 3rd of 9, beaten 2 lengths at a race at Pontefract. When they ran in the real feature races, like the John Smith's Cup, he finished last. Well beaten in the Seat Unique handicap at York. Well beaten at Epsom in the Betfred Nifty 50 handicap. Yeah, no point trying to look after him and get him handicapped for a race in particular. They could always look at the Curragh. He does at least have a good run at the Curragh when he was 4th in a Premier Handicap in September 2023. But I think this race at Newmarket should be the one that they're targeting. We're going to win that. Whatever happens for the rest of the season, great. Anything else is a bonus. But yeah, that's definitely where I think they should be aiming, Killybegs Warrior. And that's probably where the one of the only 2 races I'll be interested in, to be fair. I might look at something if they do end up at the Curragh, but otherwise I'll be waiting for this race for Killybegs Warrior. As we can see, he's won a maiden, he won a nursery, and he also actually won a feature handicap for horses rated 0 to 105 over a mile and 2, so dropping back into a 0 to 95 over a mile and 2, you would think he should take all of the beating there. As long as he doesn't come up against, when I look at these races, I don't know who's going to be turning up against them. Unless there is something, £20 ahead of their mark that we couldn't foresee, you would like to think Killybegs Warrior could go to Newmarket and run a big race. Second horse I want to talk about is Lattam, who's dropped £2 to 95. That's back down to the same mark as when he was 2nd in the Balmoral, as you can see 2 runs ago at Ascot. And I think the key with this horse is the ground. He needs soft ground. If it's got good in the description, he does tend to struggle. Just look at his last few runs. Good to soft, he was 19th. Good to soft, he was 8th. Soft, he was 2nd. Soft, he was 2nd. Soft to heavy, he's got a win. Soft, he's got a 2nd. Okay, he was winning these races at the beginning of his career on good to soft, but they were only novice events, novice stakes. that he probably wasn't running against horses rated 90 or 95 sort of thing. He was probably beating horses that were significantly inferior. And to be fair, he actually beat the same horse twice in both of those races. Flyaway Dream, who never reached higher than 79, sorry. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't that impressive that he was able to win on good to soft. He was just beating moderate horses on that ground. We can actually see he's got a win here on soft to heavy at the Curragh. Where do you go with him? Well, I think it's all about the ground, but you just keep entering him in the races and hope you get the ground. You enter him in the Spring Cup at Newbury. We know he's got a couple of good runs at Newbury, including in the Spring Cup a couple of years ago when he was second behind Jimi Hendrix. I think Jimi Hendrix went on to win at Royal Ascot after that as well, so the form worked out well. He's also, if you don't go to Newbury, you could go for this handicap. You could go for both. You could go for the Spring Mile and then send him over to Ireland, hope that the ground comes up a bit softer. Granted, last year it wasn't. It was good to firm. But you might as well send him and see what happens. Why would I send him to the Curragh? He's only been to the Curragh once, and he won the Irish Lincolnshire, beating Saltonstall, Casanova and St Eyre. Yeah, I mean, that looks an obvious couple of races for Lattam. It's all about the ground for him. Well, as soon as he gets it come up soft, over a mile at Newbury, at Doncaster, even at Ascot or York, or the Curragh, he's one that I'll be very interested in off this 95 handicap mark. The third horse we move on to is Tritonic, and I don't mind saying things like this. I think he's one of the worst campaigned horses I've seen in a long, long time. Other than, yeah, I think Tritonic is maybe Thunder Rock, and ironically they're both owned by the McNeil family. Don't know whether the McNeils are getting involved and maybe pushing for the wrong races. This horse wants 1.5 miles on the flat and he wants 2 miles over hurdles. He's actually got some good form. Even just 2 runs ago, he was fourth in a very good handicap behind Fiercely Proud, Cabral du Matin and Be Aware. Now, Be Aware and Cabral du Matin are entered up at Ayr, and I think they're third favourite and fifth favourite for the Scottish Champion Hurdle. Tritonic didn't even get an entry. Tritonic would have actually been £8. No, let me just do the math. £10 better off with Cabral du Matin and £2 better off with Be Aware. Wasn't that far behind them. Just mental that they're not. He's not running in that race. So it looks like they're sticking to the flat. It didn't work at Kempton. He doesn't want that 2 mile trip. Drop him back in trip. If he drops back in trip, there's a couple of races that I think could be key or could be interesting for him. There's this race here at Ascot, this handicap for horses rated 71 to 90. Now he would get in off 90. It's 1.5 miles. It's at Ascot, where, as we know, he's run some nice races. He has finished second in a Golden Gates handicap over 1.2 miles. He's finished. He's won a Bet for Exchange trophy. As we know, he finished fourth recently at Ascot. He's got some really nice Ascot form. Tritonic should go for that race if they want to get a win into him. If they are keen to take advantage of owners' badges whilst having a chance, you go for this race here, the Lattam Wheeler Handicap Stakes. Couple of reasons. So first of all, he does have some form at Newmarket. He has finished fifth in a Group 3. Wasn't beaten that far. He's also finished fourth in the Old Rowley Cup, the feature handicap Old Rowley Cup. When he was fourth, he was running off a mark of, just having a look, 99. And then in April 2022, he actually came back for another race off 97 and he finished second. He's only running off 90. If he gets in that Lattam Wheeler handicap, he could be very interesting in this race. And if he does get in, they also get to watch the Guineas. I mean, win-win there, isn't it? You get a nice day out, you go to watch the Guineas, and you've got a horse with a big chance who would be running off nearly bottom weight if he did get in that race. If he doesn't, I suppose you could enter him in the Newmarket race. If he doesn't get in, then you go to Ascot and try and win that race, because that's a week later. And yeah, I guess that's what you do with him. Enter him in both. Enter him at Newmarket, enter him in at Ascot. If he doesn't get in at Newmarket, run him at Ascot and win the race. And finally, the last horse I want to talk about is Empire State of Mind, who has dropped £2 from 90 to 88. Now, I think he's very interesting because I think he was very, very unlucky at Doncaster in the Spring Mile. He was coming there to play a big hand in the race. Was short of room quite early on in the race. Didn't get the clearest of runs. Eventually, Jason kept pushing, he was almost pushing the other horses out of the way. Started to get a run. Started to move forward, got hampered again. The gap disappeared when he was just starting to really get involved. I thought he was going to come there and play a real big hand in the finish, to be honest. It didn't work. Jockey was quite easy on him afterwards, which was the right decision because there's no point wasting that good handicap mark and finishing third or fourth and going up £2. In the end, he's actually dropped £2 to 88, and I think there's one race that I'd probably be aiming him at. I don't want them to waste him. I really don't. I hope they don't waste him winning a nothing race, a class 3 somewhere off his 90 mark. I hope they run him in the Thirsk Hunt Cup. At Thirsk, believe it or not. It's for horses rated 0 to 105. He should get in that off 88, even though it's rated 0 to 105, because generally doesn't quite get that good a class of horse. Because it's the Thirsk Hunt Cup, not the Royal Hunt Cup. It's not at Ascot, it's not at Newmarket, it's not at any of those courses, it's at Thirsk. And with that in mind, you don't often find that it's as competitive either. He's got a couple of runs to his name at Thirsk, a couple of wins to his name, at Thirsk. He has won a Summer Cup, and he's also won a 7 furlong or 8 furlong handicap. Yes, that was a class 5, he should definitely be winning that. But this was at least a Summer Cup. 15 grand for the winner, and a class 3. It's similar sort of rivals he would take on in the Thirsk Hunt Cup if he did go there. That's where I hope they go, and I'd be very keen on him in that race. So a quick recap: Killybegs Warrior has to be saved for that Newmarket race at July, or if he's not saved, that's when we get involved, when he goes back to that July course. Lattam, keep an eye out for the soft ground. As soon as he gets soft over a mile, he's going to be interesting. Tritonic needs to drop back to 1.5 miles, but there's a couple of races at Ascot and Newmarket that definitely catch my eye. And finally, Empire State of Mind was very unlucky last time out. Dropped £2 for that, which is very, very kind, and hopefully runs in Thirsk Hunt Cup next.